pick up everything. Everything. I mean, look at this. How in the world am I going to keep you from... Oh! Hi, friends. Welcome to my sewing vlog. Not a sewing vlog. Yes, maybe sort of sewing vlog. Who knows? Depends on the day. Well, I'm late. No, not that kind of late. Good heavens. No, I'm late with my vlog this week. It has been a week. Okay, sorry. I was playing, is that a spider or is that a bunch of thread? If it was a spider, I was just going to burn the whole thing down. But no, it's a bunch of thread. So I should probably pick that up. But I didn't. It has been a week. Okay, so luckily, I don't think any of my family members actually watch my vlogs. I'm not sure they even know they exist. I'm okay with that. They don't particularly care for my hobbies anyway, or like my life. Well, not my life, but like what I do in my life. This is bad. This is not working. This is not coming out right. Okay. Anyway, my in-laws. I found out about a week ago yesterday that a week ago today, I think it was today, that my in-laws were coming into town, but they weren't sure what days. Because there was a funeral, but it's not exactly a funeral, because the person who died had been cremated. So it was more of like a memorial service, what's that word? Kind of like a wake. I think memorial service fits better though, because I always imagine wakes kind of like you see in movies where they always put the wakes like over in like Scotland or Ireland or something, and it's a bunch of people drinking and sharing like funny stories or like heartwarming stories about the person who passed away, and people aren't like sitting around being sad. They're sitting around like being joyful about the person's life. And this is more of like a memorial service where like people are going to be sitting and crying, and I think there's food. I don't know. Anyway, but the person had already died and been cremated, and so it's not like a funeral where the body's there and then they go bury it. Like that part's already done. This was like a memorial service, and they didn't have like the specifics for us on like what days they were coming or anything like that. They just knew they were coming this week. And when I found that out, I just went into full-blown panic mode because my house, I have been spring cleaning. Spring cleaning since January. Which involved me pulling everything like out of my sewing room and out of like my storage closets and everything, and having it be in the hallway of my house and having it be like all over my living room and my dining space and everything, to go through, to organize, to get rid of some stuff, to sell off some stuff, to organize other stuff and put it back in a more like organized and appropriate manner. That really hasn't happened. So it has just been everywhere. And people don't really visit me. I live in a townhome, and there is like no guest parking at my townhome. When we bought it, we didn't think to check if there was guest parking. You just assume there's guest parking. Yeah, there's zero guest parking. So there is like red zone where they've painted off an area that's like, hey, don't park here. This is if emergency vehicles come, that people park in all the time. And you just put a note in the car that says, hey, I'm visiting this person, in E12 or F52 or whatever. If there's a problem or an emergency, that's where I am. Come let me know. And we're all pretty decent to each other and no one tows anyone. Unless you park in someone else's parking space. Then you get towed. Like, we don't mess around here. My neighbor, though, so everyone here has 2 assigned parking spaces. But my neighbor, the one with the barking dog, who we're having a better relationship. Things are better. We're in the like, hey, how are you? How's your day? Kind of relationship now. Things are getting a little better. And I hear her, like when her dog barks, actively trying to get her dog to stop. So I'm starting to appreciate her. She has 2 parking spaces. One of them right next to the building. That's uncovered and the uncovered parking space. But only 1 car. So whenever someone does come to visit, I send Handsome Hubby over to ask her, hey, can we borrow your parking space while someone's visiting? And she's very accommodating, says yes. And then I tend to send treats over. So we kind of work that out. But most of the time, no one ever visits me. I mean, my place is very small and it's a mess. And so I often deter people from visiting me. I'm like, no, let's go out to a park, or I'll come to you. I'll come to you. Surprisingly, the last, and that makes me feel bad sometimes that my friends never want to come here. I get it. It's hard. There's no parking. My place is a mess. It's small. Why would you want to come here? But also, like, I'm always going there. I'm always going there. I don't know. But the past, few months, 2 of my girlfriends especially have just been like, hey, can I come up and hang out with you? And I'm like, my house is an absolute mess. Like, it's an absolute wreck. And they're like, is your couch empty? Is your chaise empty? Then great. I have somewhere to sit. So, and they just show up and they hang out and it fills me with endorphins. I think I talked about this before, but it just is so nice to me that they wanted to trek up north to come hang out with me in my own space. It was very nice of them. So where was I going with this? Oh, right. In-laws. So, and the in-laws situation is a little, I'm trying to figure out how to say things delicately. So, Handsome Hubby's mom, so his father died a few years back, and his mom remarried her high school sweetheart, and she remarried him, I can't remember exactly, but it was 4 to 6 months after his dad died. Now, all the kids, all 7 of them, are all grown and married and have families, and they're all grown up. But that was kind of hard on them to be like, that was quick. She had gone on a trip up to Pennsylvania or Virginia or that way, and where she used to live back when she was younger, and ran into him at a function or something up there. And they were like, oh, hey, we were high school sweethearts. Ah, your spouse died? My spouse died. We should get married. So they got married and she moved up there. All of her kids, all of her grandchildren are all on this side of the United States. They are in Utah, Texas, or Washington. and she moved to Virginia or Pennsylvania. I think maybe it's Pennsylvania. We never see her. We very sporadically hear from her. It's kind of like, it's stressful for them. And also, like, they don't call her husband their stepfather. They call him her husband, our mom's husband, my mom's husband, because he's not their stepfather. They are grown adults. They had a father. They are grown, He's not their father in any way, shape, or form. He is their mother's husband. He's a very nice man. They respect him, but he's just not family, if that makes sense. This late in the game, it's just, but they understand that their mom doesn't want to be alone. And, when you've been taking care of someone, they've been taking care of you for so long. I mean, I get it. I really do. If something happens to me, this is like, what? It's like fire coming out of my mouth. But something happens to me, I would want handsome hubby. No, stop crying. Stop. If something happened to me, I'd want handsome hubby to find someone and not be alone. I'd want him to be happy and have someone to take care of him. And, obviously, it doesn't work the other way, though, just in case you were wondering. If something happens to handsome hubby, no, I'm going into full Victorian mourning. I am wearing black the rest of my life. I expect people to refer to me not as Mrs., but as Widow and my last name. In fact, I might just start going by Widow instead of Emily. Just to, like, make sure everyone knows. And I will eventually purchase an old Victorian house and just be that Victorian widow. And his picture will be framed everywhere in my house, and I will tell stories about him all day long, and I will cry myself to sleep every night, and I will wake up every morning and cry because he's not there. Girls are dumb. Girls are so dumb. I'm sorry. Women, females, I don't know, whatever we are, we're dumb, okay? Look at me, I'm crying in a video about a hypothetical situation that hopefully would never ever happen. But just the very thought of it makes me an absolute mess. It's ridiculous. Should cut this part out, but as we know, we don't edit. Leaves room for more mistakes. Okay. I need to... I heard once if you look upward, it helps you not cry. So I'm going to do that. I just worked myself up, got very emotional and cried. Right then. Ridiculous, right? Absolutely ridiculous. Okay. I gotta get this in-law story finished. This is ridiculous. It's taking this long. But I have been emotional wreck this week. My stress levels have been those you see them outside of car sales and stuff like that. Those wind guys where they have a fan at the bottom and they're just a tube, and then they have those crazy arms that go like this, and they're woo! That's been me all week. My stress levels have been crazy high. So, anyway, bottom line, we kind of have a guest room. It's my sewing room, but handsome hubby was I don't feel comfortable with my mom and her husband sleeping together in my house. And I was You know, she's like almost 80 years old, and they're really old. And he just had heart surgery, and she's got like a heart monitor, and I doubt that's going to be like a big issue. You know, I'm sure they'll just sleep, but it's a discomfort for him, you know? And I get that. So here we are, dirt poor. Like, we're so poor. Like, not going to go into how poor we are and what a problem it is. And we're like pulling out a credit card going, okay, we're going to have to put him up in a hotel when they come to visit, because they're insisting that they stay with us because his mom is like the cheapest, most frugal person ever. I mean, they're flying standby to get here because his sister works for an airline. And that's another reason why they can't give us like exact flight information or anything, because they're flying standby. So finally on like Monday, I find out they're coming Thursday and they'll be here through Saturday. So I go into like cleaning mode. I go into like organizing mode. I go into like crazy mode, and I'm like pulling things around and shoving stuff into places. It is not good. I don't know where anything is now. Like, it's going to take me forever to refine stuff. It's really bad. My stress levels are crazy high. Do not love the fact that we're going to have to put this 2-night stay on a credit card. Just, you know, and the stress levels of the fact that Handsome Hubby is working. So I'm going to be chaperoning them around and having to, like, entertain them while he's at work and everything, and probably go to the memorial with them because I'm going to have to drive them. And then, well, they're going to need some assistance. Anyway, so Thursday, they get their first connecting flight to Denver. And by some miracle, they get on the standby flight for that. So they get there. And then I'm waiting. I'm like, surely they've gotten to Denver by now. So I message. And they're like, oh, there have been storms and whatnot. All the flights to Seattle are completely booked. And we're like at the bottom of all the standby lists. There is no way we're going to make it there. We're just not coming. And I'm like, what? And his mom's husband has a daughter who actually lives in Denver. So they're like, hey, we're just going to contact his daughter and she'll come get us and we'll visit with her, and then we'll find a standby flight back in the next few days. And I'm like, wait. You're not coming at all? Like, for the memorial or to, I don't know, visit your baby, your youngest son, who you haven't seen in years? Nope. So I found that out at like 2:00 yesterday. And I just, I equal it to like, when you're like dog paddling and you're dog paddling in the water and you're so tired, but you know, if you stop, you're going to drown in like, and you finally are just like, ugh, and you just stop and you just sink because you're just, ugh. That's what it was like, because basically this whole week I've been dog paddling. I've been like, don't feel your feelings. Don't feel the stress. Just keep going. Just keep going. You got to get through this. You can feel it when they leave. It's fine. And I started like crying. I don't know if you've ever done that, where you're like sobbing, but you're also laughing hysterically. And I called Handsome Hubby, who was at work. I mean, he answered the phone kind of like, hi, what's going on? Like, figuring there's some kind of emergency or something. I was like, I'm sorry, I didn't even realize I was calling you. Hey, your mom's not coming. He was like, what? I'm sorry, I'm basically venting to all of you. So I have a partially cleaned home. I have stuff shoved everywhere. I don't know where. And I'm just sweating to death because it's so hot in our house. And you know, yeah. I had so many other plans and other things I was going to do this week that just got completely shoved aside and overshadowed by this. And now I don't even know. I don't even know. So anyway, I'm working on a dress right now. I'm working on a dress pattern from, I don't know where it's from. It's around here somewhere. Did it get lost too? No, 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 no. Where are you? I need you. Like, come on. This is ridiculous. It's here. It's here somewhere. Just hang on one sec. I know it's here somewhere. I have part of it right here. It's a 1910 dress pattern for a very simple dress. 1910, you started to see kind of a higher waist. It wasn't set at like your more natural waist. It was set at not quite the under bust, but just a little bit below the under bust with a long skirt. The skirts were not as wide as they were in earlier Edwardian period. It has a crossover kind of V front with this really wide collar that I'm not sure I love, so I might be changing the wide collar. And then sleeves that go to the elbow with a little cuff, or you can make them long. I'm trying to decide either way. Because it's going to be a more summery dress. The fabric I am making it out of, if you can see, I'm not sure if you can see. What if I just pull a part of the fabric out? Yeah, I think that might work best. There we go. I think you can see that better. Is this beautiful, very light embroidered cotton fabric. And then, oh, the pattern was under the fabric. Yes! I'm making this. It is the Hint of History 1910 collection pattern. I have actually made this dress once before. It was for a late Edwardian tea I went to, oh goodness, like 10 years ago. Wow. Maybe 8 years ago. I think more like 8 years ago. At the beautiful gardens in Thanksgiving Point in Utah. So this is the pattern I am using. I am going to be making some adjustments. I don't love the collar again, and I've done some research on how I can, what kind of the colors and different options for the era that I can make some changes with. I have to I have to adjust the sizing on this, which I do not love. I have to grade it up for me, which makes me super nervous because I don't have my dress form anymore, which has really helped me with that in the past. So this is going to be an interesting experience. For the belt, I found this amazing trim that I have in my stash. It is it's a black taffeta with 4 lines of black velvet on it. The one downside to this trim is that black velvet just gets every little bit of everything stuck to it, which is super annoying. So I'm going to have to run the roller brush over it before every time I use it. I'm trying to decide exactly what that belt is going to look like, but I know I want to use this for the belt. So that's the current project. I also will be working on, I need to completely redo the pink bodice for the pastoral outfit that I wore. You've probably seen me posting pictures from the pastoral picnic that I sort of hosted and did and attended recently. I really tried to do the Amalia jacket pattern that is so popular right now, and it wasn't turning out right. The way something was wrong with the way I was doing the fabric. I don't know. It was puckering between each of the sections, just like super puckering, like poofing out between, and it looked just so wrong. And I could not figure out what I was doing wrong. After the 4th mock-up, I completely gave up. I pulled out the simplicity pattern. Actually, I think I have it out here. Yeah. I pulled out this one. It's very well known. It's the simplicity pattern that was done by American Duchess with the amazingly beautiful and talented Abby Cox as the model. And I actually just took the top of that and made a very simple, very costumey looking just bodice. Because I was like, okay, the picnic's in like a day. What do I need for this? Like, what is the minimum I need? Okay, I need the overpiece and I need an insert, you know, and I had the teal insert, but it was a little bit too wide at the bottom. And so I wanted to remake it. But when I made the pink bodice, jacket, whatever you want to call it, vest, I don't know what it's called, out of that, it didn't come in quite as much as I'd like it to. So it turned out that the wideness of the insert turned out great for that. So that's fine. It's all very costumey looking. The whole thing needs like an overhaul, but that's fine. It kind of got, it turned out fine. It looks lovely in the pictures. I felt lovely. I got to frolic with my friends all dressed up, which is always my favorite part, the best part of costuming for me. I do want to wear it to costume college. I think I might wear it for the Thursday night pool party, which the theme is Enchanted Forest, and I feel like it kind of goes with that. But I do want to kind of give it an overhaul. From the pictures taken from the event, I can see a lot of the problems. One of the huge issues is I've never pinned a 18th century like front together, which is very historically accurate, but it is hard. So I'm going to do some cheating with that because that is hard. So I'm going to do some cheats with that, but that's after I overhaul the whole top and everything. Luckily, I have plenty of extra fabric to do that with. I also will be recreating Rose's flying dress for an outing in LA prior to costume college. And then I have a couple of other things I'll be working on. Yeah, I got the stuffs to work on, the sewing stuffs. But as one of my friends has mentioned, sorry, video got to like 30 minutes and I had to stop and restart. Because phone, someday I might actually get a camera. We'll see. One of my friends, I can't remember, one of my follower friends, I don't know if they commented or messaged me with this, but they were like, look at you are sewing things. Like, you are actually sewing the stuff and the stuff is happening. And I was like, I know, I was sewing the stuff and the stuff is happening. I talk about sewing things on my vlog all the time, but it like rarely happens. But lately I have been pretty on top of sewing my stuff and getting it done by my deadlines. I attribute it to having more sewing friends. I've actually made some more sewing friends who have been just very like hyping for me. I've also like have more events coming up that have made me excited. Sometimes I'll have something that I'm sewing for something that I'm not that excited about, that I've like agreed to do, or I don't know, but it's just not, I'm not feeling the excitement. And I find that's when I procrastinate a lot when I sew, is when I'm just not feeling it. So, but recently I have been getting a lot of sewing done. I have been on top of my work, on top of what I need to be doing, on top of my schedules, and it feels really good. It really does. I also have been proactive in, recently I took a good hard look at my stuff, like my sewing room and my bins and bins of fabric and stuff, and realized that a great source of my stress comes from having just too much. I have too much stuff and it's invading my life. I can't have the cute little organized sewing room that I want because there is too much stuff. And when I really look at how much like fabric I have, there's more than I could make. Like me, maybe not another seamstress, but me, there's way more than I could make in, I don't know, probably 30 years. So I have tried to be very realistic with my fabric, looking at it. Do I know what I want to make with this? Is there an actual plan for what I want to make with that? Or is it just something pretty and there's a vague like, oh, that could be good for this style? Then it needs to go. There will be more fabric in the future. It needs to go because like my shelves are already full and I still have bins of fabric. So, I'm starting to sell stuff on some Facebook groups and it's going pretty well. I have some really good stuff. It kind of hurts a little when I sell some of the fabrics, especially the ones that are like truly beautiful and really good. But I know that they're going to good homes and someone else will make something beautiful, and that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes you just gotta let it go. I'm not gonna start singing. I'm not. Yeah. I've never been one for like the minimalist lifestyle. No, I like my little decorations and I love my stuff, and yeah, I'm all for like the Victorian way of decorating where it's like gild the lily, please. But stuff, just having stuff, and having to store it and then having to pull stuff out of storage or not even knowing what all you have in your storage. Yeah, it's not cool. It's time for it to go. Goodbye, stuff. Goodbye, friends. Thanks for being awesome and supportive. And let me know what you're doing. Are you making something? Are you cutting down your stash? Are your in-laws driving you crazy? Let me know. I am your friend. Let your friend know. Let me know. Bye, friends.